Hello, everyone. So I've been getting some questions about this homework problem in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this just so we understand everything that's happening. In addition to this problem here, I also have my guided notes that I've uploaded with another example here. Let me see if I can zoom in here for all of us here. That ooh, that's way too much. There we go. I think that's good. So in my guided notes, here's another example here where what we want to do is find the 25th and the 75th percentile for this data set. And notice that the data set is n equals 10. And we have to do this method when the data set is an even number. Because when you think about an even number, especially when you're trying to find percentiles and quartiles and all that, all right, um, it not everything is perfect, all right? Like you cannot find the exact center. In fact, if you look right here, we know that the median is going to be somewhere in between 11 and 13. Okay. Which what you would do is you would take 11 plus 13 and divide it by 2 to go ahead and get that middle part, the median, right? But that doesn't necessarily apply to the 25th and 75th percentile. And the reason for that, all right, is because the distance between those two numbers may not be the same. So let's go back. Let's go back to our problem here. All right. And we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to walk through this together. So we're going to consider the data set n equals 8 measurements. So right there, we have an even number. So we need to be careful with that. Okay. And we want to find the 5 number summary. Now, this is one of the students who gave me this problem. So as we can see here, we nailed the minimum, which is great. Okay, got the minimum correct, got the median correct, got the max correct. But here, and here, that Q1, Q3, and the IQR, that's where we're going wrong. Okay. So let me explain. Let me go through what's happening here. So I was starting to write this up and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video. So because we have n equals 8 measurements, we need to interpolate the distance in between the for Q1 and Q3 respectively. So this distance right here between these two numbers, let me go ahead and let me highlight the two numbers. We need to interpolate where is that distance actually, okay? So in order for us to do this, what I'm going to say is Q1 is going to be somewhere in here. And to determine this, we take 0.25 times the quantity n plus 1. And that point, and what we're saying is the 25th percentile is equal to 0.25 times n plus 1. Now, when I go ahead and I do this math, and I take 0.25 times the quantity 8 plus 1, and I'm doing this on my calculator off screen, we come up with the 25th percentile is 2.25. And what that means is this, everyone, and this is the big thing here, okay? The distance that we are looking for, p of 20 or p25, is going to be here's our first value, here's our second value, and then it's 0.25 in between 0.31 and 0.34. So that's that distance that we're looking for, okay? So we will do the same exact thing. I'll use a different color here. We'll use purple. We're going to do the same exact thing here for the 75th percentile. So here's what we know. Q3 is, or I'm sorry, Q3. How about the 75th percentile? We'll keep everything consistent here. The 75th percentile is somewhere in between 0.59 and 0.75, right? But it's not perfectly in between, all right? And that's the assumption that some people make. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to do the same exact thing. So the 75th percentile is going to equal 0.75 times the quantity n plus 1. So the 75th percentile is going to be 0.75 times 8 plus 1, which is equal to, and give me a second, I'm just going to do this off screen, 6.75. So this is a location number. It's not what is the 75th percentile. It tells me its location. Same thing over here in green. This 2.25 is the location of the 25th percentile. So if I go from left to right, all right, so I already have 1, 2. Here's our third data value, our fourth data value, our fifth data value, our sixth data value. And then somewhere in there, that 0.75 more distance is the actual location of the 75th percentile. So now that we know their locations, we can go ahead and find them. So here's what we're going to do. So for the 25th percentile, all right, I'm going to take the number right before its location. So 0.31. And I'm going to add the interpolated distance, meaning I'm going to add the 0.25 times the quantity of 0.34 minus 0.31. Because remember, distance between two numbers is nothing more than just the final minus the initial, okay? So when I do the math here, 0.31 times 0.25, I'm sorry, 0.31 plus 0.25 times the quantity of 0.34 minus 0.31, we end up with 0.3175. And this is the number that separates the bottom 25% of this data set from the 75% of the top part. All right? Do the same exact thing now for P of 75. So I'm going to go all the way up to, and I'm going to highlight it here for us. I'm going to go all the way up to 0.59. So 0. Purple. 0.59. And I'm going to add 0.75 of the distance between those two values. 0.75 minus 0.59. And like I said, I'm doing this off camera, so 0.59 plus 0.75 times the quantity 0.75 minus 0.59, and that's going to give me 0.71. And if I scroll back up, that's exactly what I needed. So here is the 0.3175. Here is the 0.71. And because, these two are now correct, the IQR is going to be correct as well. Our IQR is the 75th percentile minus the 25th percentile, or another way to phrase that is the IQR is equal to Q3 minus Q1. So we just go ahead and substitute our values in. The IQR is equal to 0.71 minus 0.3175. So our IQR is 0.3925. And if we scroll back up here just to verify the answer, now we got it precise. Okay, so remember, and I'm going to go back to this. My guided notes show you how to do this. So the location is going to be Chapter 2, Section 4, Measures of Relative Standing. Make sure you read over these notes, okay? There's some examples in there, but most importantly here, as you scroll down, in Part 2, this is where all this is covered with percentiles and quartiles, okay? So I hope this helps, and if you have any more questions, just let me know. See ya.